Welcome back, everybody. Well, today, what's today gonna do? We got to go down to Jerome's. There's been a couple calves getting out, and we're gonna grab some meat for a customer, and then we're gonna work on the scale and move the rake and the baler, and that's what's happening on Ranching Sodak. Come on, girl. Like I said, we gotta go grab some meat while we're down in that country. It'll be closer to go to the locker. I had a guy from northern Minnesota. He's gonna come down in a couple days to pick up his meat, so I said I would go get it, at least get it this close. So we're ready to rock and roll, huh? Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. There's a couple, 3 calves that keep getting out down there. Must have a hole in the fence. Plenty of grass. I think they're just doing it for fun now. But anyways, it's a ways down there. The meat locker is a little bit farther, maybe another 10 or 15 miles from there. So I thought, well, I'll just go do all of it, check that fence, grab that quarter of beef once we get back. It ain't gonna be time to start getting the baler out there. And it's just so dewy. No wind today, so we'll work on that scale, I bet. And then hopefully after dinner, we can get the baler down there. Bale some of that stuff we cut on Saturday. No gate opener today. Well, we'll go see what we find out here, huh? It's kind of weird. Like there's only like, we start out with like 14 or 15 down here and then we sold them. I think there's only like 7 or 8 pair down here. So they got plenty of grass, plenty of space, but there's obviously a hole that these calves are finding, kind of making a game out of it and getting out because they've been out for 3 days now, off and on. Well, this is not where the calves are getting out, but this is kind of a dumb thing. I didn't bring a chainsaw, which I should have. He said something about a tree. That's on me. That's all my bad. I'm wondering if I can't bust some of these limbs off and lighten it up and then he-man this thing over the fence. Act like a little beaver and start at the top and just keep gnawing my way down to the end, huh? Let's chop some of these off and... I was not mentally prepared or physically prepared for that, but we got her. Well, let's keep looking for a hole. There's a little bit of some loose wires along here, but nothing bad. I could see this is where they've been spending their time here, but I kind of think it's right here. I think this is like a little creep gate. When they bunch up in the corner, they start fighting flies here in the corner. And then these calves are just dink-dorking around. Either they're going right through here, they could go right through here. Probably not here. This one's just a perfect little creep gate. So I'm gonna put some more wires there. This bad boy should be pushed down in the spring with the loader. It looks to me like, but I got some of this I'm gonna try to use up first. Well, wait a minute here. Had an idea on the way down here. So this group of cows, I've said this, that when they come down here, they don't go back, but there was one cow in here, this Brockle face cow, I thought was open. She's a young cow, nothing wrong with her. In the winter, she went off by herself for just a day, and I wrote it down, and I thought she aborted. Turns out she had a calf. Like I say, she's probably a 5-year-old cow, maybe. Anyways, I'm kind of starting to feel bad about selling her. So there's a neighbor over here, down here, that I've done some bale wrapping for. Anyway, he raises Black Angus. He's got just a few, he sells a few bulls every year. So I just thought I'll just text him and see. He had a bull just standing around doing nothing I could rent for a month. Kind of a win-win if he's got one that he's done with. He said, yeah, I'll go grab it. It's just a couple miles away. And then we'll go get that meat. Now we're in for a treat. Here's the owner, got his old bee out. He's been having to put these calves in the last couple days, so he's coming to check her out. He'll be happy to know we got her figured out. Well, he says it's not parade ready, the old tractor, but that's his ATV, so he's heading back over to the pasture. He likes to drive around out there. We'll go grab this bull and see what he looks like. Get him dropped in there, and it's kind of wild. There's only 2 that I really care to get bred in there, but there's only like 7 cows in this pasture now, so it's like a total waste of a bull, but the way stuff is going, I think I'd like to get a couple of those bred. Off we go. We're back. We got a bull. Got ourselves a little bull action. Think we need to chase him down there to the cows? He's like, what's up, guys? Oh, I suppose we could. I don't know. Well, I tried to move that bull, but I don't think he's ever been out of a pen and then hand fed. So he just wanted to beller and flex up on everything and run around in circles. He was super confused. I thought it'd be faster to go down and get these cows. He's up there by that dirt mound just rubbing on the dirt and bellering around. We got to get them together though. There's making a connection. The cow in the front is the one that I want him to make sweet, sweet love to, so hopefully it all works out. There's only 2 in here that I really care if they get bred. I'm glad to see they're hitting it off right away. Good luck, little fella. Made her home. Here's Daniel's meat. 105 pounds. Pure delicious beef. Look at these steaks, my guy. Delish. All right, let's get her put in here. Well, it's high noon at the OK Corral. Let's go take this rake down there to that hayfield. We'll give it a little test whirl, see what it looks like, and then Ellie can come pick us up, and then we'll bring the baler down there. Big portion of that first field, I cut that on Saturday. Today's Tuesday. I think we're gonna be good to go. Check this thing for fuel. I don't know. I might have to run over to the other place and put some fuel in it. That's good. All right, let's see what happens. Check the oil. She was pretty much empty. Get her filled up, find a couple of springs, and then we'll be on our way. Well, we got about a 8-mile drive. Suppose I could give you guys a poem on the way down. I haven't gave you a poem in a while. This one, called The Bra by Bill Hershey, goes like this. Well, I've never been much for shopping. Fact is, I try to stay away from town. Except when cattle shipping time comes, I'm not easily found. But the day came when I had to go, so I left the kids with Ma, and before I left she said, "Could you pick me up a bra?" Well, without thinking, I said, "Sure, how hard could that job be?" I bent down, gave her a kiss on the head, said, "I'll be home by 2 or 3. Well, when I got done with the things I was needing, I started to regret ever offering to buy that thing. I was working up a sweat. Well, I walked across the street to that lady's shop. I had my hat pulled down over my eyes. You see, I didn't want to take any chances of getting recognized. Well, I walked up to that sales clerk. I didn't hem nor haw. I straight out said, "Ma'am, I'm here to buy a bra." Well, from behind I could hear some snickering, so I turns around to see near 15 women in that shop, and they're all gawking right at me. "What kind would you be looking for?" Well, I just scratched my head. I said, "I'd only seen one kind before. I thought bras was bras," I said. Well, with a disgusted look, she said, "Well, that's where you're wrong." I heard her say, "Follow me," and like a dog, I tagged along. She ran me down this alleyway where them bras was on display. I thought my jaw'd hit the floor when I saw all that lingerie. They'd had all these different styles that I'd not seen before. I thought I'd go plumb crazy before I left that woman's store. They had bras you could wear for 18 hours. Ones that crossed your heart. There was one that lift and separate, and that was just the start. There was one that felt like you weren't wearing a bra at all. And one you could train in, you know, when you start out when you're small. Well, I'd finally made my mind up. I'd picked out a nice black and lacy one. I told the gal to bag it up. I'd figured I was done. Then she asked me for the size. Well, I didn't hesitate. I knew those measurements by heart. I said, 6 7/8. 6 7/8? Surely that's not right. Well, yes, ma'am, I'm positive. I measured them myself last night. She must have went into shock. Must have caught her by surprise when I told her my wife's bust was the same as my hat size. You see, that's what I used to measure them with. I thought that was fair, but if I'm wrong, ma'am, I'm sorry, and that just drew another stare. By now, a crowd had gathered, and they were all cracking up when the lady asked to see my hat so she could measure for the cut. When she finally had it figured, I gave the gal her pay. I headed towards the door, tipped my hat, and said, "Good day." My wife had heard the whole story before I'd even got home. You see, she'd heard from 15 women that had called her on the phone. She was still laughing, but I didn't care, 'cause now she don't ask, and I don't shop for no more women's wear. Little ditch action here on the way. Normally I mow this whole mile of ditch, but this year it's so wet up there and I was able to only do like a quarter mile of it. It is what it is. Still nice and green. I think I should maybe set the rake pressure down a little bit. It's like kind of digging in. Let's go check it out. Oh yeah, nothing like haying in August. Nice and brown. Not a lot of pressure on it already. Another fellow hayer out and about. That's Adam. I think he's gathering ditch bales around here. He farms for TJ. They're farming a bunch of this ground down here. They lucked out and got it all baled up right before it had rained. It's not like the stuff where they had baled before. The ditch now is all underwater, but they actually, I think, were able to get her captured. That one window when we were back home haying, that just the last window, I guess, the last window of opportunity of haying. We were at home, had a bunch down, and they had done the ditches. Got her done. All right, let's get over here and see what we find. Normal, well, I don't know, I want to say normal years, but a lot of years I hay this entire bottom, this slough. And this year, the water's all the way up to the gate. Right there's water. I couldn't even make it around it 2 times. The tires are wet just driving in the thing. I did stick my head down in the water, which worked out great to clean all the dirt off. So I just dove my head down in there and ran it. So it worked out pretty good, kind of like washing your mower deck off. I don't even know what to do. I got water right there. I got one little windrow in front of me. We need to get up to that field up there on the horizon. Maybe I'll just give it a little flipperooski. Limited on space. She's worth doing this year for sure. Even if we're late. Lots of stuff. Not a lot of green stuff rolling up either, so as you can see, these windrows I laid them out wide. The stuff in the ditch, those windrows I put them narrow because you can't always rake 2 together, so I'll be able to bale them right behind the cutter was, you know, so they're holding a little more moisture down low. This is good though. I better call Ellie and tell her to come pick me up and we'll bring the baler down here. I'm guessing we can go here. I cut the main part of this field, this big field here, on Saturday late afternoon, evening. So she's been laid up here now for, well, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Is today Tuesday? Yeah. So 3 days. We're good to go. Let's go get that baler. Let's go get that baler. Made her home. I'm gonna put a new filter in that pump that we put together, but this is our second batch of coffee cups now. So there we go, folks. Go to ranchingsodak.com. We are stocked up again. Coffee cups, hats, gloves. That's our second 10,000 order, so you don't want to be left out. 10,000 or 100, I can't remember. Anyways, ranchingsodak.com. Go check it out. Get yourself some stuff. Help a guy out. If it even helps me, I'm not sure. Let's put a new filter on this bad boy. Yeah, once it gets full, you can. Look at there, boys. Now she's pumping like 15 gallons a minute. Probably 10 gallons a minute. You gotta have a secondary person helping you to unplug it. Otherwise it gets a little sketch. Farm Sip Supreme, go get yourself one. Tell him you got it, saw it at Ranching Sodak. He'll just laugh at you. I just tightened this chain up. We were getting some clunk in here. I don't know. Nothing was warm or hot yet, but I feel like I got a bearing or something kind of wonky. Better keep an eye on it.
Cynthia Kenny was one of the...
Not 100% sure what's going on there. Usually if you got a bearing going out, as the bale gets bigger in there and tighter, it gets more and more noisier or hotter. This has a rhythmic tick, 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 tick to it. It's not the pickup, but I don't know if it's that chain could be making that noise or not. The long chain is really loose too. That one needs a link taken out of it though, I'm afraid. I'm gonna bail to the other end and then probably pull over to the pickup and do a little more investigating, see if I can learn any more. But fair amount of stuff out here, boys. Nice big windrows. But that's how it goes. Sits in the yard for a week during the rain and can't do nothing, and then you fire it up and then something shows up. Could have fixed it 10 times, would have known what it was. Still don't know what it is. Watching Farmer Tyler and He's baling out there in California. The one thing I don't do enough of is check my moisture, I guess, on these bales. 14, 3, 9, 48. Perfect. I figured out what was wrong in here. I just had to turn my radio up a little bit. So I shut my raker off. She's got enough raked up for me tonight. She's gonna go over to the neighbors and visit Carol if Carol's around. So Carol, she's coming your way. Carol's a big fan of the channel. Otherwise she'll have to go home and then come back at dark and pick me up, because I don't think that pickup's got any headlights or tail lights. It's got headlights. Anyways, we'll be back bailing here. The sun's going down in Panama City. How does that song go? Anyways, Ellie's coming back. I sent her home for a little bit. There's just a little neck right here. I don't know, half an acre, maybe an acre. I cut this on Sunday, but I'm gonna bale it up. It should be good to go. The big field is done. I got like 78 bales or something. This thing is so flippin' rough. Once we get this done, Jim is itching to do something back home. I am going to have him get these bales and slide them off to the side, and then I'm gonna have him disc this thing like 3 times with that red disc, real light. I mean, it's not gonna dig in or turn anything, but all these old mounds, you know, you can like walk on top of these mounds. Bing, bing, bing. They're all here, old pocket gopher mounds. She needs to be leveled. We need to disc her down, and then I'll probably throw a couple years worth of fertilizer over top of it this fall. Not the nitrogen, but like the other stuff, potassium, the potash, stuff that doesn't go away, stimulate it up, be good to go next year. Oh boy, we're losing the light. Thanks for tuning in. Let's check this hay quick. Oh yeah, it's some money, dude. Put that on a cracker, whatever they say. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you on the next one. Peace.